First light lifts over London 1600s, and the empty lanes begin to breathe. We see shutters crack open, and a thin mist clings to the street like smoke. AI reconstruction shows cramped wooden houses leaning toward each other, turning the roadway into a dim corridor. The street is not clean. Gutters hold yesterday's wash water and slops, and damp grit shines where footsteps will soon grind it in. Near Fleet Street, a bell sounds somewhere off frame, and the first sellers appear with baskets and boards. One man pauses to adjust his load, then moves again, careful not to slip where the gutter runs down the center. Farther east, the pull of Cheapside begins before the market fully wakes. A water carrier steps up, shoulders set, and waits for his turn at a conduit tap. When the flow comes, he fills his vessel and hurries into the thinning dark. Look closely, and the city's systems reveal themselves. The street fills not by accident, but by routine, labor, and pressure. The River Thames takes over, and the morning commute shifts onto water. From the tight lanes, the morning flow turns outward toward the River Thames. The city's first real movement begins on water, not stone. AI reconstruction shows the river as a working corridor, with low boats nosing into the mist and ferries cutting short paths between banks. Along the edge, landing stages creak, and ropes scrape wood as craft are pulled close for boarding. Near London Bridge, the river traffic bunches and hesitates, because this crossing is more than a landmark. It is a choke point where shops and houses sit above the water, and the bridge's arches hide water wheels that can drive pumps. A ferryman sets his oar, watches the current, and times his push from the bank. A passenger steps in, clutching a bundle close, then looks back once at the waking shoreline before the boat swings into the channel. The system is simple and relentless. People and goods move early because streets jam fast once the day fully opens. Cheapside takes the baton, where conduits and water carriers decide who gets clean water first. From the river's motion, the morning shifts inland to a different lifeline. The River Thames carries people fast, but Cheapside decides who carries water. AI reconstruction shows the Cheapside conduit as a hard point of order in a soft, foggy city. People queue with vessels, listening for the first steady run, because the system is simple: gravity-fed water, controlled access, and constant pressure from need. A water carrier steps forward, shoulders squared, and fills his tankard with practiced speed. He turns away at once, because every delay invites arguments, and the streets are already waking. But water is only half the battle. The gutters hold rain, wash water, and slops, and rakers move through the lanes to push filth out of the alleyways before foot traffic grinds it deeper. The city feels like it is cleaning and feeding itself at the same time. The street smells sharp, wet, and human. The bottleneck at London Bridge tightens, where machines, shops, and crowds force the entire morning through one narrow throat. From Cheapside's ordered queue, the city funnels toward one hard crossing. London Bridge is the morning's tight throat, where every step and wheel must pass. AI reconstruction shows houses and shops packed along the bridge itself, turning a crossing into a street. Below, the arches cut the current into noisy channels, and water wheels under the bridge drive pumps that can lift water into the city's supply. Traffic here works by force and patience. Pedestrians press forward, carts hesitate, and river craft slip past the piers, all trying to steal a clean line through the same space. A porter edges along the rail with a burden tight to his chest, eyes down, timing each step between others. At the far end, Southwark pulls at the flow like a magnet, while the city side behind him swells with new arrivals. The bottleneck tightens, then releases in a pulse. Wood creaks, water slaps stone, and the bridge breathes out another wave of people. Next, the camera turns off the roadway into the shadowed timber housing near Old St. Paul's. where crowding changes everything. From the crush at London Bridge, the camera slips into the older heart of the city. The noise dulls, but the air grows heavier as the lanes tighten near Old St. Paul's. AI reconstruction shows timber housing stacked high, with upper floors jutting outward until daylight becomes a thin strip. This is a housing system built for pressure, not comfort, and it shapes everything below. The street surface stays wet where gutters carry rainwater mixed with household slops. In these shadows, even a small spill turns into a slick hazard, and a sour smell clings to doorways and cloth. A tired resident cracks a shutter, looks down, and decides against stepping out. Instead, they tip a small pail into the gutter flow and pull the wood closed, hoping the street will carry the problem away. Crowding and dirt do not just offend the senses. They help disease move fast when the city fills, and fear travels as quickly as any rumor.
Out of the way.
Pause. Next, order tries to answer disorder at the Guildhall, while Westminster power looms beyond the city's reach. From the shadowed timber lanes near Old St. Paul's, daylight reveals a harder truth. London runs on rules, but the streets often run ahead of enforcement. AI reconstruction shows the Guildhall standing firm amid cramped roads, a symbol of the city trying to govern itself. Here, orders against dumping and street filth exist on paper, yet records suggest enforcement is uneven, and cleanliness slips as crowds thicken. Westminster sits beyond the city's daily reach, representing a different center of power. Between these poles, routine breaks down into small negotiations, street by street. A raker pauses at a corner, watching a constable pass, then resumes, scraping wet waste toward the gutter flow. A shopkeeper in the doorway hesitates, then pulls a shutter half closed, as if authority might follow the smell back inside. For a moment, the city feels balanced on a thin line between order and spillover. Then the morning surge returns, and the line bends. Next, the fear underneath it all rises, as sickness and crowding turn ordinary dawn into a threat that can spread faster than any cart or ferry. From the Guildhall's rules and Westminster's distant authority, the street returns to its oldest argument. Hygiene fails, crowds tighten, and the fear of plague rides the same roots as trade. AI reconstruction shows a damp lane where gutters carry rainwater mixed with slops, and footsteps churn it into a dark paste. The air feels close, trapped by leaning timber fronts and low morning haze. Near Old St. Paul's, people keep moving, but they move differently now. A woman pulls her sleeve over her nose as she passes a doorway, then quickens her pace without looking back. The system that feeds the city also spreads danger. Congested streets, shared water access, and filth left in alleys make sickness feel unavoidable, even when no one can name what causes it. A bell sounds again, sharper this time, and heads turn in the same instant. For a few breaths, the whole lane seems to hold still, listening for what the day will bring. Next, the meaning of it all widens, as the city's daily systems reveal why London grows powerful while living on the edge of collapse.